We're going to begin with an absolutely delightful lack of formality. I'm Darren Barney. We'll begin also with some celebration because the news is just in. I mean, I assume most people in this audience will celebrate this news that McGill's independent student groups have won their referendum today. In which McGill students voted in favor of the principle that independent student groups should be able to devise and administer independently and autonomously their own systems for gathering and refunding their fees. So that's a huge victory. And many people in this room have been active in that fight and in this referendum campaign in particular. So I would like to start by giving them a round of applause today. I talk a lot in this room. This is the room I teach in, but I seldom speak in it when it's full of so many friendly faces. So it's really great to see you all here. I'm going to talk for a while. I bet I'm going to talk for an hour. So I just warn you of that. You might want to take your coats off. It's going to get warm, and then we'll have time for questions and stuff after that. I want to thank CKUT, and in particular Fortner Anderson and Charlotte Scott, who Fortner who had the idea for this event, and Charlotte who, along with some of her colleagues at CKUT, really executed it and brought us all together here today. So thanks to them. Okay, so in case you missed them, there were two more revolutions last year. The first was proclaimed by the 2007 New Year's edition of Time magazine, in which the editors decided that the person of the year was you. You as in YouTube, of course. The video sharing website that allows users to upload and download video clips, and which, along with MySpace and Wikipedia and Facebook and Second Life and the blogosphere and podcasting, is said to comprise a whole new world. And what's it all about? Well, it's about, we're told, and this is a quotation from Time magazine, it's about the many wresting power from the few and helping one another for nothing, and how that will not only change the world, but change the way the world changes. It's not just, as they say, a new version of some old software. It's really a revolution. Power to the people, the headline shouted. You control the information age. The second revolution was proclaimed just a week later, and this time it wasn't you, but I, the iPhone, Apple's new handheld wireless email and web surfing computer, cell phone, audio, and video player all in one. It has no buttons, apparently, but like us, it's touch sensitive. Every once in a while, Apple CEO Steve Jobs said, every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. Changes everything. And that's the definition of revolution, all right. Changes everything. But if that's true, I think it's difficult to see how this word can sensibly apply to these technologies. Do you feel, as you boil in a metro shutdown on the way to and from a job that pays you either too little or too much, as obscene wealth and shocking poverty pile up side by side in places like Vancouver's downtown east side, or as you prepare for the worst at the airport because of the sound of your name or the color of your skin, as you numb to the spectacle of exploding villages and subway trains and classrooms half a world away, as you wince at the news of beautiful northern children committing suicide because the world beaming into their communities by satellite offers them nothing to be and nothing to do, as the same sort of people make the same sort of decisions in the same sort of ways, as you try but fail to escape the appliances that shackle us now, even as they connect us. As every night you wonder where the day went, or as you salvage joy from beauty, from work, from friendship, from intimacy, from thought, from struggle, from a child, from the wilderness, from the city. As you live through all of this, do you ever feel for 1 second that everything changed when YouTube went online and the iPhone hit the market? Business models, perhaps. One would have to have a severely limited view of what constitutes change and an impoverished sense of what is included in everything to think that a few new ways of exchanging information on the web, or the folding of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 digital technologies into one, makes for a revolution. If the past few decades of living with the internet has taught us anything, it's that whenever we hear the word revolution associated with the technology, somebody, somewhere, is about to get even richer. And things are about to stay very much the same. Now, this is an easy point to make. This rhetoric is, after all, just marketing hype designed to shift a few units. And we've become so accustomed to it that no one takes it seriously. I'd like to say that this is important because it's an example of how technology works to drain political language of its integrity. But it would be misleading to suggest that the admin are responsible for killing the real meaning of the word revolution. In this particular drama, they're more like scavengers than assassins. The only reason the word can be repeatedly used to signify its opposite is because it long ago ceased to have any other sensible meaning in the political cultures of the wealthy capitalist countries such as ours. The admin found the word revolution lying by the side of the road. It was there for the taking. The definition of revolution as technological innovation is not a crime against the word's real meaning, but rather its only meaning in the contemporary context. Technology is bound up intimately with the possibility of politics. And the relationship between technology and the language with which we imagine that possibility is an important part of this intimacy. But it would be to underestimate the complexity of this relationship, to reduce it to something as incidental as the opportunism of the marketing profession. We should also be careful not to allow the excesses of this style of rhetoric to become an excuse for failing to take seriously the very real consequences that accompany technological devices, systems, and practices. We can be properly skeptical of the revolutionary claims made on behalf of YouTube and the iPhone, while still paying careful attention to the way in which technology, and here I refer to the broad range of technology that encompasses far more than merely the digital. Paying careful attention to the way in which technology is bound up with the organization of social life, the distribution of political and economic power, and the everyday practices that comprise the culture. While it may be misleading to characterize YouTube and the iPhone as revolutionary, it would be equally misleading to suggest that inhabiting the world with the internet and with mobile telephony is the same as inhabiting the world without them. Things happen when new technologies arrive on the scene, or when practices surrounding old technologies change. And in tonight's lecture, what I want to suggest is that one of the things at stake for those of us who inhabit the world of technology is citizenship. I want to argue in particular that technology poses a significant challenge for citizenship, and I want to sketch out the dimensions of that challenge as I see them. And I'm going to begin by proposing